Hello, witchy people. In recent months, I have occasionally admitted that I felt sometimes hurt and worried in the way that some people, and a lot of it my mum, perceived me as a witch. I didn't want to disappoint her in not being a Christian. And and it's not necessarily the way my mum reacts to certain things, it's how she reacts around other people to certain things. And I have been reading the situation so wrong, and that's really daft of me, because I know my mum is the most open-minded, forgiving and non-judgmental person on the face of this earth. I want to tell you something that happened, and this is obviously, I wasn't there, this is something that my mum talked about. She recently went on a small shopping trip, you know, like mother like daughter, we can't help it, it must be genetic. Anyway, she went on a shopping trip to a charity shop and was perusing through and went up to the counter. Excuse me. It's a really close evening. It's quite warm and humid. We have thunderstorms coming and it makes me tired. Anyway, she went up to the counter and noticed that the young man behind the counter was wearing a symbol around his neck. And she said, "Oh, is that Star David?" And he said, "No, look again." And he was very cocky about it. And he lifted it out and he said, "I'm a witch." Like he wanted to shock somebody. Not like he was proud of the fact that he was a witch, but like he really wanted to shock. And instead of being shocked and, you know, ooh, shock, horror, no, my mum turned around and said, "You'd really get on well with my daughter. She's a witch, you know." And she was proud to tell me that this had happened and that she told someone that her daughter was a witch and everything was okay, you know. But she actually said, "No, my daughter doesn't have to brag about this." And it made me see my mum as I used to see her, because the bias comes from me. And I think that's a point that a lot of people have to take on sometimes when they feel they're being perhaps persecuted in some way. And persecution is such a harsh word. It's not. It's much too a bigger word for what I'm talking about, really. But if you feel that you're being judged in some way negatively, I think maybe sometimes you have to think, is it down to me? Is it my fault? Not that other people are judging you, but are you seeing something that isn't as it seems? So my mum never judged me, and I don't think she's ever been disappointed. I mean, I think she's always hopeful that I'm going to suddenly wake up and find God one day, the Christian God. And it's like I say never, but as far as I know, it's not on the horizon. And I think I just had to put out there publicly that I read situations wrongly when they're close to me, and this was one of them. You know, I can give the best advice to other people and I can see anyone's point of view, but when it comes to me personally, my head fogs. I'm sure it does. And I probably get narrow vision, you know, and I just see things in one direction, in one way. And yeah, so yeah, go mummy. She stuck up for me and put down someone who really it's like we were talking about certain aspects of each of our religion. My mum recently went in for a cataract operation which went horribly wrong, and she's back in, I was with her, she's back in hospital tomorrow to have corrective surgery before she goes blind. But whilst we were sat there, after the operation, and we had to wait for the surgeon to come back in and explain what had gone wrong and everything. We had a really long and quite in-depth discussion about our respective positions on religion, and not just religion, but cults, sects, not sex, and different pathways in life. And it's like she said, and I said to her, and she quite agreed, that no matter what path you follow in life, there are always going to be people within that organisation, that group of people that you find some connection with, whether that be other Christians or witches, pagans, whatever. There are always going to be other people who will make your, for the sake of argument, I'm going to call everything a religion, make your religion look bad. They're going to put a negative slant on your religion and make other people perceive it badly. And I think this man in this charity shop, how lovely that he was working in a charity shop and giving up his free time to work in a charity shop and work for a charity. But to brag in such a negative way about being a witch I found it offensive, actually. If I had been there, and I would have told him so, that I found it offensive because he was putting my way of life in a bad way. Now, he may not have been a hedge witch. He could have been a Wiccan or anything. And for him to make himself look like an idiot, basically, in front of someone who didn't follow his path for the sake of shock and trying to shock someone, to me that's offensive, and I would have darn well told him so. And it's like I said to Mum, and this is kind of where this conversation is leading. It was about leading, not leaving, is about the pentagram. And I said to Mum, what most people have to understand is, okay, a lot of neo-pagans, neo-pagan followers, don't actually use the pentagram. It really is, in neo-paganism, quite specifically a Wiccan symbol, because it represents the 4 elements and the spirit. However, a lot of witches do take on this symbol as a representation to the outside world, to say, look, this is part of who I am. It's why some Christians will have a cross and other Christians don't like a cross, and they will only wear the fish symbol. So the pentagram, that's what I was getting to. A lot of witches wear it just to show, it's almost like a symbol of unity. I'm a witch. This shows I'm a witch, and I'm pointing because usually I do have a pentagram on, and obviously I wear these earrings every day. I think nearly every day. I usually have a pentagram somewhere, even though I'm a hedge witch and not a Wiccan. So the pentagram. What I was trying to say to Mum was, what a lot of people don't realise is, a lot of people do get the pentagram and Star of David, which is a 6-pointed star, mixed up, which is what Mum did when she first noticed the symbol that this man was wearing. And yes, the funny thing is, at one point the pentagram was a Jewish symbol. It was actually the seal of the city of Jerusalem from, I think it was 300 to 150 BC. And in the Kabbalistic religion of Judaism, so if you're a Kabbalist, it represents justice. I've got to remember this: justice, mercy, wisdom, wisdom, understanding, and transcendent splendor. I think it's my words aren't coming out. Justice, mercy, wisdom, understanding, and transcendent splendor. That's what it represents in the Jewish religion. Now, in the Japanese culture, it is literally a magical symbol. And in the Chinese culture, it represents the Chinese elements of, I've got it written down somewhere here because I need to know them in order. Here we go. Earth, air, earth, air, water, wood, and metal. Now, the pentagram itself is one of mankind's oldest symbols. Now, I can't go into everywhere where it's been found and everything. I know it was found in, there have been some symbols found, carved symbols of the pentagram found that are about 6,000 years old in Palestine. Now, there have been other representations of the pentagram and the pentacle found in other parts of the world that are 8,000 years old. So they are one of the oldest symbols known to humankind. The ancient Sumerians, now there are two theories on this. The one theory which scholars kind of dismiss is that the ancient Sumerians believed that the pentagram represented the four corners of the earth and the vault of heaven. Now what they think, a more commonly accepted theory from scholars, is that it represented, to the ancient Sumerians, the 5 visible planets in the night sky. So the 5 planets they could see in the night sky. The point being Venus, because she was considered the queen of heaven. And the others were Mars, Mercury, no, get it right, Jupiter, Mercury, Mars, Saturn, and then Venus at the top. Jupiter, Mercury, Mars, Saturn. Jupiter, Mercury, Mars, Saturn, Venus at the top. Yes, so there you go. So this is the kind of discussion that me and my mum were having whilst we were waiting in the hospital. But it was really interesting that we had this connection and this really good talk over the pentagram, the pentacle or the pentagram. And I thought that was absolutely amazing. So there you go, a little bit on the pentagram and why my mum is so damned amazing. And she is the most amazing person, and I'm fingers crossed that her operation goes really well and everything's going to be okay for her because she deserves a bit of good. But anyway, there we go. That is my little ramble, and you know, probably like I've said before, I am probably teaching my grandmother to suck eggs, because nothing I'm going to tell anyone out there who's watching about the pentagram is going to be anything that they haven't heard before. And you know, oh, before I go, I will be back soon because I've got to make another video. My daughter gave me these amazing books and I've got to show you them, and I know it's books again. It's always books or gardens. But anyway, so I will be back for that. But for now, I just wanted to leave you with those thoughts about how we can misperceive, misunderstand other people because maybe we're too close to the situation, and how amazing that a discussion about a pentacle and religion and me being a witch brought me and my mum closer. And let's not forget, my mum is a born-again Christian. She's not pagan, she's not a witch, she is at heart. Don't tell her I said. No, she's just a hippie, really, at heart. But it was really lovely that we came together over this discussion, and you know, it was good, and I wanted to share that. So there you go. Thank you for watching, witchy people. Bye for now.